Hello, welcome to PHP tutorial. So one thing may you like to know before you get into the language learning, how really PHP works in the context of when you see a website, and if somebody says the website is developed using PHP, how it really works. So let me briefly touch upon that. So let's say you have Okay, we are back again. So we have what we would like to cover is how PHP really works. So let's say you have a website, okay, and let's write a big box. So this is you're visiting, let's say, joe.com. So Joe has your friend, and he has developed a nice website to talk about himself. And so you have joe.com, and Joe has said that he has developed this website using PHP, and he hasn't told you anything. So now the way it works, let's say a typical PHP code would be something like, let me write it here. So let's say it's called index.php or maybe abc.php. Oops, I'm having a little bit technical difficulty here. Let's see, A, B, C. Okay, let me fix it. So how it works is that, let's say when you're visiting joe.com website, then when you type joe.com, let's say your URL says joe.com, okay, looks like we're having again technical difficulty. Okay, let me see. Okay, so joe.com, and what happens is when you type joe.com, and also you say joe.com slash abc.html, oops, looks like we have the technical difficulty again. Let me clean it. So you're back again. So we were talking about how the PHP works when you visit a website. So let's say you are visiting joe.com slash abc.html. Now abc.html happens to be this particular file. Now let's say this has some embedded PHP code. So what this will do is so now entire thing would run within Apache, and if you happen to have Apache web server, so Apache is running in your here. What this web server will do is it will so first when you type in abc.html, it request would come here, and then Apache would get the HTML file, which is abc.html, and then it will look at the PHP code, and it will execute the PHP. So Apache has the PHP process within its memory space within the main Apache process. As long as you have the PHP compiler installed, so Apache would run the PHP process within the web server's namespace or memory space. So then when the HTML comes, it loads the HTML, it executes the PHP code, and if the PHP code happens to have some database calls, it talks to the MySQL and it gets back that. Now that is going to happen by the PHP process itself, and then it will populate it will replace the PHP part with the actual data, and then it will send the entire HTML back here to joe.com, and then joe.com browser, it will interpret the HTML and it will display the results. So remember, PHP is a server-side code. So all the execution, all the PHP code which is there in HTML, or it could be even a .php file, all this is happening at the back end, and you only get the the browser is looking at the just pure HTML and with other client-side code like CSS or JavaScript, but not really PHP. So for example, if you just happen to view the raw abc.html as it exists in the server, you will see PHP code embedded. But then if you let the web server handle the PHP code, and when you type in the browser, it basically goes through this process which you just now described. So you never see the PHP code when it comes to you. So that's sort of the get the perspective in mind. So how PHP really works, and this sort of thing allows PHP to be embedded in the HTML with a tag. So for that, I hope that gives you a right perspective. If I just add one last thing, I talked about how HTML has PHP tags, and we'll talk in detail. But typically, this looks like this. Let's say HTML, and you have some text. Let's say ABC, XYZ, and then you have, let's say, HTML. Close here. Now this is very simplified version. Now if you have to have PHP, then what you do is that you embed PHP tag like this, PHP, and then you say, let's say you can say echo $var. So this is a PHP code embedded in HTML. So when the browser sees this code, and when it comes here, the Apache web server within this PHP process looks at this, and then it does its magic by replacing the variable var to some value. So at the end, when the HTML comes to the browser, it looks like this. So you have your HTML. Looks like typing has become slow again. But let's see. So let me not type, and let me tell you how it is going to look. So you have your you have your ABC XYZ, and this one would be replaced by this entire tag starting with less than question mark PHP would be replaced by the value of var, which is, let's say, 1 to 3, and then you have the HTML. So that's the way you see. That's the way it happens. So things would be more clear when we take a more real life example in our next video. Thank you.